We will soon take you to Kumasi and Tema, where the situation we learn is not so different. But before that, there are mixed expectations in Parliament as Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta prepares to brief MPs on measures to keep the economy afloat in the wake of COVID-19 spread. While majority MPs expect a message that will inspire the nation, minority MPs want to know where governments will find the money to boost the economy. NDC MP for Wa Central, Rashid Pelpo, and NPP MP for Second D, Andrew Mercer, spoke to Joy News ahead of the address.
We have high expectations. We are looking forward to seeing the Finance Minister commit himself more on behalf of government to stimulating the economy, because there's going to be a huge gap between a normal operation and an abnormal operation, and that gap must be closed for the economy to function well. So we hope that he will be able to tell us exactly where he's going to get resources, how he's going to apply those resources to stimulate the economy by propping up businesses that are getting collapsed as a result of this debilitating situation we find ourselves. Yeah.
The last time the president spoke of $100 million. The other day he spoke again about $1 billion cedis. Is your thinking that these resources, in terms of where to get it from, it will be quite difficult raising all of these resources to support businesses one way or the
other? Surprisingly, when he said that, the finance minister came and was telling us he was still chasing money from the IMF and that he was still talking to friends. We just hope that by this time he would have come to a conclusion, because there's no much time left for us to address ourselves to this challenging problem of coronavirus. So I hope that he would come here, the finance minister would come, be able to explain adequately that he's been able to secure some funding, the $100 million already secured, $1 billion secured, and then he will now tell us the details on how he's going to apply the money. Because, come to think of it, he's talking about giving 1 billion Ghana cedis out. Who are you going to give that money to? Who will be qualified? How does a person become qualified? And etc., etc. So many questions to be answered. So the finance minister would have to come and explain all these details to us. And beyond that, he has to demonstrate strongly that he can secure that money. That's what is more important to us.
I expect that he will provide us some details on the statement that he made to Parliament a couple of days ago. You recall that the finance minister appeared before Parliament, I believe, last 2 weeks, Saturday or so. I don't remember the exact date, but he provided some indication as to the impact of the COVID-19 on our finances. He indicated quite clearly that the projected revenue from our oil, which was indicated in the budget at some $62 per barrel, now we're looking at sub 30. Of course, our fiscal receipts, import receipts, duties are all impacted. So I expect that as he appears before Parliament today, he will provide us some details on that and what it is that they were doing to bridge the clear revenue gap that we're going to have in our fiscal situation.
And the conversation around the stimulus package, possibly to help businesses.
Let's take you live to the chamber now, and Joseph Opokurapo is standing by with the very latest. Joseph, tell us what's happening now on the floor of Parliament.
So, sitting started just about 5 to 10 minutes ago. The House has been correcting the proceedings per the report that was put out on last Saturday's meeting. And right now, a number of papers and documents are being laid requesting for approval, including one having to do with the construction of the hospital facility and another having to do with a report of the Finance Committee on some loan agreement that had come to the House sometime last week and earlier. So we're waiting to see what the next few minutes will bring and the issues the House will be proceeding on. So,
have you seen the Finance Minister, Joseph?
I haven't spotted him in the House. Yes.
Okay. Do we have any indication from the House that he may or may not come?
The indication we have from the House, even from other Speaker, Professor Michael Kwe, has been telling MPs since last Saturday, is that he would be in the House to address MPs on the measures being put in place to keep the economy running and strong, even in the light of the spread of the COVID-19. the indication we get is that when he addresses MPs, he'll be talking about the various measures, including a stimulus package that they'll be putting out for businesses and other entities. And as well, on Saturday, he laid before Parliament a document requesting for approval for a $35 million World Bank facility to support the COVID-19 Emergency Preparedness Fund. And so we're waiting to see the debate on that as well, even as the House begins.
Thank you very much, Joseph Opoku Gakpo. We'll come back to Parliament, of course, when Mr. Oforiatta takes the podium. Here on Joy News Today with me, Daniel Daze. A lot more coming up. But first of all, let's speak to Erastus Asaidonko because he's been observing the exercise in other parts of the country now. Erastus, you just spoke to some market women, but we understand you've been to a number of other markets in the Bono East region.
Exactly. We just climaxed the whole exercise. We have been to many markets within the Bono region. Sunyane South, we've been to Sunyane West, we've been to Brekum, we've been to Fiapre, we've been to Jinejine, and all those markets were disinfected. And in fact, the exercise was led by the regional minister herself as we went round. There are other teams that went to Bono East, Boso, and its environs, Techimine, and other areas. So, many markets have been disinfected today. The Zoom Lion staff and local government staff deployed drones, pickup trucks with spraying machines, spraying vans on the streets, and all that. So it's been a great exercise that has been welcomed by many within the region.
What did the minister say?
Well, the minister has been re-echoing what he has been saying, that he doesn't want a case to be reported in the region. And as we speak, they have quarantined 2 people who were arrested trying to come in from the Ivorian border towards the region illegally. So they've been arrested, and currently they are under quarantine, being observed by doctors. So they have put in security measures at the borders between the Ivorian border and the Bono region, and they've also put in other security measures to ensure that people do not come in illegally to spread the virus.
Thank you very much, Erastus Asaidonko. It's still live here on Joy News Today. We'll be back. So staying with us now, 40 people, including health workers at the Tamale Teaching Hospital, would go into quarantine after they came into contact with some Guineans and Burkina Faso who have tested positive for COVID-19. Police officers who moved the foreigners from their hotel to the Tamale Teaching Hospital for the testing have also been identified and are being quarantined. The Northern Region Minister who disclosed this to Joy News dismissed claims by residents of Tamale. The foreigners had been in Tamale for over 4 days before they were found and quarantined. The minister added that the various assemblies have been directed to use schools as places for those who may need to be quarantined for the next 14 days, whilst those who need to go home have their data taken as part of measures to deal with the influx of people to the region. Martina Bugri joins us with more. Martina, what more do we know?
What we do know now is 38 of those who were quarantined health workers. I spoke with the public relations officer of the Tamale Teaching Hospital this morning, and he says 38 of them are currently in quarantine. And he says that the hospital is providing them the necessary social support that they need to be motivated. And he says that they are providing them the necessary minimal comfort to keep them at home. He says that they have had to recall health workers who are on leave and those on steady leave to come and support to augment the shortfall that has just taken place. Now, what the public relations officer also tells me is that they will take the samples, but they are waiting for the 14-day, towards the end of the 14-day incubation period, then they will take the samples for testing. He says there is uneasy calm at the CCH, but authorities are assuring the health workers that the hospital will not do anything that will endanger their lives.
Martina, thank you very much for those updates.
Okay, so we need to.
Back to Accra now, and Fred Smith, head of Health Desk, has joined us in studio with some latest updates on the coronavirus situation in Ghana. Fred, let's begin with the local situation. We'll go global soon, but what's the latest in Ghana?
Well, Daniel, it's been 24 hours and there's been no new case. And it's not as if we're not testing. We are testing. There's been 17 cases tested by the Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research, and all the 17 have tested negative, some from the Upper East, others from Upper West, and then in the Kumasi itself, negative. The other good news is that 2 patients have fully recovered and have been discharged, so they've gone home now. There are 2 others who appear to have also recovered. The test is being done on them, and once the test is confirmed, they will also go home. No one else has died since the last death you had, so the death toll is at 5, and the number of cases still stand at 152. Great news for a day like this.
So it's only good news you're reporting today?
Yes.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Fred Smith. Now, before we move even to the global picture, we say that tests are being carried out in Kumasi and in Accra as well. Do we know the number in Accra? Do we know the protocols that are being followed?
Well, the numbers being tested in Kumasi and Accra are not so clear to us. What has already been done is what we know.
Okay.
And that will be the 17
that has been done so
yesterday.
Far.
And the reporting is that all the 17 tested turned negative. Noguchi did not report any testing.
Fingers crossed. Let's go to the global picture now.
Well, not as good as you have in Ghana. The cases continue to rise, and so far more than 735 persons have contracted the disease, and almost 35,000 have died. The recoveries, which is good, 156,000 have recovered from this disease, so we're very happy about that. In the United States, they have the highest of infections at 143,000 and more, and then you have almost 5,000 deaths in the United States alone. And as you may have heard on international wires, some states have already started imposing restrictions, or if you like, lockdowns in those states. The story is completely different in China. Now, the Chinese government announced today that nearly all of its major industrial companies are resuming production today, which is also great news. And if we're able to replicate this in the rest of the world, fantastic.
Fingers crossed, like we said. Thank you very much, Fred Smith. It's a day to smile, at least on the local picture. It's still live on Joy News today. Up next is sports with Nathaniel Atto, the man with love for sport.
And the General Secretary of the Ghana Football Association, Prosper Harrison Addo, has urged Ghanaians to stay at home as Accra, Kumasi and other parts of the country go on lockdown today. Now, he was the main guest on last Saturday's Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM.
Me appeal to fellow Ghanaians that the speech was clear, very clear, that their markets will be open. If you are going to market to buy food for your family, you'll be allowed to go. If you are going to buy drug,
tilapia
it's safe. So people should, when I was coming, I also saw some of the people queuing up and all kinds of pushing and shoving just to get gas. Gas will be available. So this staying at home thing, we should take it in the spirit it was read to us by the president, so that we don't push each other and then fight each other over foodstuff and petrol, gas and things like that. They will be available and will be allowed. It's not like we are having a total lockdown where you cannot even move. If you are going to buy drugs for your children, you'll be allowed to go and buy. So people should take it easy. If you are going to buy fuel, you'll be allowed to buy. It's not like they said no car will move. Even taxis will move. Just that in the trotro, they said instead of the usual 4 in the seat, it should be reduced to maybe 2 in the seat, kind of thing. So there will be some movement. We must drum that home, because the kind of shoving I saw around Jowulu on my way here, people queuing to buy gas, and they were really
pretty worried.
Yeah, so we have to calm down.
Well, more on that interview and others at 2 p.m. when I bring you Sports Today. For now, that's it for sport. And of course, Joy News Today continues with World News coming up next. My name is Nathaniel Atto, and I have love for sport.